Hello guys, welcome to today's tutorial. So in this section we'll be setting up a fresh project, okay, for your API automation, and we'll set up all the required jars, okay, and we'll integrate with our project. Along with that, we'll take up an open source API and we'll write couple of scripts, very basic sample scripts using get call, and we'll validate the same. Okay, so one is project setup, second one is downloading all the required jars for API automation, okay, and that will be useful for the framework development as well. Third one, refer a open source API, and fourth one is we'll be writing some first script or like couple of script to show you how the API works or how we can validate the same response and all the stuff. Okay, let's quickly start it. So we'll go to file and we'll create a Maven project. Okay, let's go to here, project. Okay, let's create a Maven project. Okay, select next, select one by one, quick start. Okay, 1.1. okay, here mention dummy test API as package, let's say artifact API dummy. Okay, so this our project is created. Okay, this will be coming up with some basic like by default packages. We don't need that because we'll be creating fresh package from the scratch. So let us delete that first. Okay, let us delete this package as well. Okay, so this is cleanup is done. This is the form.xml. basically we are using Maven. So Maven we are using for this moment to remove the jar dependencies, means whatever jar you need to work with, you don't have to manually go and download and add it to the project. You just write the dependency for the required jar and Maven will download it for you and add it in the project library. Okay, build path basically. Okay, it will be considered as the same. So now what is dependency and what are jars are required and how to add it to your project, let's quickly see it. So jars we need to start with is first is TestNG. TestNG is a unit testing framework which we use and we will be validating the same to build the automation process, right? So if you can see here TestNG, right, I have written TestNG Maven dependency in google.com. okay, let's go to this, let's click on this. We have set it version 6.11. We had copied it. Okay. Then after copying it, we have pasted it here. Next jar that is required for us is your RestAssured, right? So let's write it dependency. Okay, so here point to be noted is we have js com.js RestAssured, we have io.RestAssured. We'll be using this one because this is the latest one, 3.0. I navigated to this. Okay, this is 3.0. let's copy it and that one. So rest assured dependency, it has been pasted. Third thing that is required is your JSON path. What is JSON path? So we are learning JSON path going forward in the further subsequent videos, but just in one liner, JSON path is a process, is a like it provides you with the utilities or the facilities to parse through your JSON response, right? JSON response can be coming in multiple format like JSON format, XML format, like this. So to parse the JSON and fetch any of the nodes value, okay, you can use JSON path, right? And why the values are required and why parsing is required, because you may need to validate specific value depending on the multiple nodes. So that's why it is required. We'll know in details in the next couple of videos. Okay, so here JSON path I have searched with, and again let's go with io.RestAssured JSON path. Okay, so I have navigated here. So if you can see, this is JSON path. I have copied here. Okay, I have pasted here. My JSON path is also ready. Next, what is required for our API automation is JSON validator, JSON schema validator, CGMA validator. So what is this basically? This is basically your okay. This is basically your, suppose you have a schema that you want to validate exactly with your response what you got, so you have to use that. Okay, so this is JSON schema validator. So you navigate it through that. This is this one, copy that. Okay, and your dependency. Okay, so you have copied the JSON schema validator. Another thing that is required is your once you need to have XML path Maven dependency. XML path is also required to parse the XML and get the value. So basically you can do many things using that. Right? So let's quickly copy it. Okay, we have copied. The thing that is required is your hamcrest Java. What is this? This, let's say you might need to work with regular expression, okay, to manipulate and the validation of response, right? You need to manipulate, you need to work with regular expression with the rest, which will be coming into the picture or which you will be needing while working with API automation. So let's quickly add it. So this one is this. Okay, so here is this one, we have copied it. Let's paste it. Okay, let's paste it. So all our dependencies has been downloaded. I mean dependencies formatting it. So now I have to get all the dependencies. Basically after writing the dependencies you have to compile or run the pom.xml to get all the jars to be downloaded in your local system, right? So what we'll do, we'll go to Maven build. Okay, and in the goals we'll mention compile this keyword and apply. So once you do this run, okay, all the Maven, if you can see here, launching API dummy, so that means it is retrieving this one. So mention yes. Okay, so see it is building the workplace in that down. Okay, it is done. Oh no, it is going on, still going on. And if you can see, it is downloading all the jars, right? So yeah, and this is your, if you can see here, build success has been shown, right? So we are set up with all the required jars and we have set up the Maven project as well. Next step is we'll be saying or taking an open source API, okay, to work with our API automation learning, right? So let's quickly see. There are many open source API that you can work with. For now we'll get an API, open source API, this weather map. Okay, basically this API provides you like the current details, open weather map, basically current details of the weather of any places. Okay, so for now, for this video we'll be using this API. You may need, if you wish you can go with another API. So this is the API documentation. Let's click on this. Okay, so this is the API endpoint. Okay, so let's quickly open it. I'm just hitting that and let's see what happens. So if you see, okay, invalid key, okay, because it needs some key, right? Now, okay, it needs to be accompanied with some key. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So okay, this is giving some issues, it seems. Basically it will ask for some time for your login. Basically it will ask to register in the website and you have to log in itself. So that's the concern. That's the, yeah, so you have the key here. right? So this is, I hit the API, okay, and I got that response, correct? This is the response. Now this is not a well formatted human properly, you cannot properly read it, because right, because there is JSON file, it is not in a properly formatted way. So for that, what we'll do, we'll use JSON editor online. Okay, go to JSON editor online, okay, just paste it. It will format the data for you. If you can see, this is the JSON response. Okay, this is the response what you get once you hit that, API. Okay, now you can basically pass to each one of the data, and you can get the value, and you can put some assertion or basically validate the same. So that's all for this section. Will be sticking to this API. Okay, so let's quickly start our scripting. So let's quickly add a package, say com.test1. Okay, just I had named it like for this. Okay, now this is basically a test-ng test I have created, okay, or I am about to create. Okay, and we'll be using RestAssured, right? So RestAssured works on kind of Gherkin language. It is basically, what is Gherkin language? It's basically given, when, then, and this kind of, means it's an English like language. Just to give a high level overview of how RestAssured works, it's an English like language. Okay, given means you are given with some condition. Okay, when means when you're performing some actions. Then means after the when or given action is performed, okay, you are getting something. Then means you are validating it. Okay, you can interchangeably use this whenever it is required. Okay, let's quickly see it how we can achieve that. So let's first create a test method, public void test1. Let's mention that. Okay, so here is a, you have to import the test-ng test, right, annotation. Now let's refer to the API what we hit that manually, this one, right? Okay, before to that you have to import. Okay, it's my bad. So basically this we'll be using, and we are using a static import so that you can utilize this anywhere. So now this is given. If you can see, this is a request specification, as I was mentioning, given, when, then, right? Given, then get, right? And inside get we have to pass the endpoint. Oh my bad, this one, basically API URL what you are trying to hit, right? Then so what we had done, given, then get, okay, then this one, then what we'll get. So basically we are validating here. If you can see here properly what we are doing, we are getting given, get means get the, hit the API, okay, then you should get a status code equal to 200. What is status code? Like once the success, once upon a successful retrieval or response, you'll get 200, right? This is a status code, like 200, 400, 500 series like this, right? So we are hitting the API and putting some assertion, basically validating, not assertion proper way, but validating whether the status code is 200 or not. Let's quickly run it. Okay, we have run it. Okay, it is running actually. Okay, if you can see, this got successfully passed. Okay, test 1 is done. So that means your error code is 200. Let's see, if I give 400, 400 means it should not get passed, right? Because it returns the 200 on successful completion of the request. So it should get fail ideal, right? So let's quickly see whether it fails or not. Okay, because it is expecting 200 and you are validating whether it is 400. So there's a mismatch, it should get failed, right? Yeah, if you can see here. Okay, let me show you. So okay, status code expected 400 but does not match. It was 200, returned 200, right? Yeah. So now this is one thing. Second, we'll be writing the second script in a second way. Okay, same thing we'll be writing in a different way. Public void test2. Okay, given, you can directly write when. So basically you can interchange given and when as per your own requirement if you feel so. Then dot status code equal to 200, right? This is one way. Okay, now another test I'm writing. Okay, public void test3. Okay, same thing I'll be, let's say, using. So here I want to store this. So this is basically returning some response, right? Depending on that response, you're putting or you're validating the status. So we can basically store it in a response instance. So if you see here, it is stored, right? Now basically what you can do, you can utilize this response, okay, and you can validate the same. Like here we are using assert test and JSert. Assert dot assert equals, okay, now response. Okay, let me show in such a way. Okay, assert equals, okay, this is, let's say, 200 and this is the response, right? What we got, response dot status code dot to string, not string, not required, right? This is basically this one. Okay, now let's quickly run. This is, let us comment it out because we already have seen this. Let's run two test cases. Okay, and let's see how it behaves. Okay, now let's quickly see what happened. So two test cases got passed, right? So here you are directly using when instead of given, and you are simply validating the response code. Okay, now here what you are doing, you are storing the response when dot get into response. Even you can write here given as well, right? Storing the response and this response you are utilizing for your further operation. This is assert means testing assert, assert dot equals what it is doing. This is returning as 200 response or status code, right? And this is also returning as 200, so that you are matching whether both are equals or not. Okay, so this way you can pretty much validate using response as well. Okay, another way I will show you using another function. Will not use this. Okay, just remove this. Let's rename this. I'm copying the code because to make the video shorter. Okay, now response dot, okay, here it will be then, right? Because we are asserting some value or like validating some value. Response dot then we are using assert. That means we are asserting or validating the value of whatever we got. Status code equal to 200. Okay, so this is also another way of validation. This is one way. Okay, this is another way, this is another way. There are multiple ways you can validate basically, so I'm just showing couple of them to start with in this video. Okay, let's quickly run it. I have commented this two tests. Only I'm running this because it already had run. Okay, if you can see here, this is also passed, right? That way you can validate this as well. Now let's say if you want to see or print what is coming as a part of response and you want to print as a part of string, that also you can do. Like what you have to do here, you have to just make it as string, right? String response data equal to this, right? Let's name it as 5. Okay, let us print this. Okay, let us print like this. Okay, let's run only test 5. So test is running. So if you can see in the console what is being printed. Okay, window show to. Okay, so if you have seen, this is your response, right? This is what you got, this full thing, right? This is your response. So the same thing what I got it manually. See, tor and do coordinate 200. Okay, coordinate this one, right? You can also pretty much copy this and paste it in JSON editor to see whether it is fine or not, right? So let me show you by copying. Okay, so that's the response pretty much what you got through manual execution and as well as automation execution. So that's pretty much for this video. Okay, in the next video we'll try out other methods, other way of validating get response. Okay, and how to use XPath. Okay, how to fetch the specific value from a JSON. Okay, how to validate multiple items. Okay, how to uh, and iterate over them. Basically not iterate, basically, okay, do complex stuff. So we'll do that in the next video. So If you have any question, comments and suggestion, put them in the comment box. I'll be happy to help. If you like my video, please share, subscribe and like my channel. Thank you and have a nice day.